Welcome to episode 24. I saw a cloud and it was in a city. Wait, does that sound right? I saw a city in the clouds. There you go. Welcome to Planning Phase Syndicate, episode 24. Tonight we are going to have a pretty lively discussion, I'm going to guess. I'm going to wager we're going to have a lively discussion. We 100% are going to have a lively discussion tonight about some of the new rules, how they're going to be affected, some changes that they've made about gas clouds and first player order. Probably going to do that. We won't make the whole show about it, so we're going to save that till a little bit later to let, we got to get Charles and we got a new guest, or new host joining us, and we got to have, get some excitement going so I can get them, riled up. That way it's not just me being, feisty tonight. We're also going to talk about a spoiled Aces High kit. We will say spoiler warning, so if you don't really want to see it, which I don't know why you wouldn't, you can jump off for a half hour or so when we go through some of the cards. And we also are going to be talking about what else are we going to talk? Oh, Krayt Cup. We got Krayt Cup coming up here too. Either which way, without further ado, let's bring in the new host. Come on, computer, load the screen. There we go. Tonight, we are proud to announce that we have a new host joining us. His name is JJ. Psych J, if you know him from the Discords. He decided that he would like to join us, which actually kind of makes us a little bit even, except for tonight when I don't have Matt here. It's now like 2 Florida people versus 1 Michigan person. It's weird. It's weird. And JJ has a freaking Giants hat, too, on top of that. He's like, it's like he doesn't know what freaking state he's actually rooting for here. But either way, welcome to the show. JJ, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Charles, welcome to the show. How are you doing tonight?
Doing all right. Tired and getting ready for the calling next weekend. But other than that, doing all right.
Awesome. So it was Halloween weekend, and technically it's Halloween here. So in my city, we don't celebrate Halloween on a Sunday because, God forbid, that you can't actually do that because of the churches, So they decided God actually said that. So we don't get to celebrate Halloween on Halloween, which actually works out great for this show because that means we can cast tonight and I don't have to worry about whether I'm in a coma from stealing all my kids' candy or in a coma because I had too many pops while we were walking around picking up candy. Just saying. Either which way, how did either of you have to go trick-or-treating with your kids, or did you get lucky to stay behind and hand out that candy?
Well, luckily there's trunk or treat over in our area. It's less walking, more people in a concentrated area. Go to each individual car and just get stuff from there. And then also, my kids' school also did their own trick or treat inside of the school. They went classroom to classroom. Either way, there's a ton of candy, and yeah.
Awesome. How about you, Charles?
My child is currently in Michigan.
Oh.
So he and my son and my wife flew up there on Thursday because Halloween is like a big thing for her and her sister. So she flew up there Friday evening and they did trick or treat as them. So I've just been enjoying the bachelor lifestyle, I guess, if that's a thing. Just sitting at home and chilling out. So
awesome. You know what your kid went as, Charles?
Yes and no. I know I bought a morph suit that was weird and tendrily, but I have no idea what the actual name of it is. It just
is.
It's a morph suit that's really, really creepy.
How about you, Psych J?
She went cutesy. She went for a unicorn princess with mini ears.
Fair enough. That's cool. That seems pretty easy to satisfy. You want to know what my 13-year-old went as the purple guy from Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't understand really what that is, but that's
I was about to say Grimace, but
that'd be worse. Though, you want to know okay, so here I'm going to side tangent for 30 seconds. There is a Black Sabbath cover band called Back Sabbath. And they play McDonald's themed Black Sabbath songs, and one of the guys is dressed up as Grimace. Just as an FYI, they are amazing. Just so you know, I've seen them once or twice. And we actually had tickets this year, and they canceled the show.
Nice.
I mean,
So
that's right up there with Oakley Dokley, which is
yeah,
the metal band where everybody dresses like Ned Flanders, and most of their lyrics are lines from The
Yeah.
Simpsons that are Ned Flanders lines.
and I like that too. I've never seen them though. They've never come to Michigan that I know of. If they do, I will go and report back. I like me some, I like me some metal. You should know that by now.
I believe there's a Transformers themed metal band as well.
Yeah, they played at they actually played on some Twitch stream this year for some online conference that they had, I think in Japan or something like that. But I'll Google it, I'll find it later. I like Transformer metal. I think it's hilarious. Anyway, so my other daughter decided to go as some character from My Hero Academia. And
Nice.
you'll have to forgive me because I honestly don't know, or it's Oracha or Oracho or Orachu. I don't. This is
Uravity. That's her hero name.
yeah,
Uravity.
yeah. She's the one that can lift people up crazy and stuff
Mhm.
like that. Anyway, so that was our Halloween. So JJ, before we get into the show, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself? Specifically why you wanted to join the show or join our syndicate. Kind of talk to us a little bit about your background in X-Wing, and how often you and Charles hang out and play X-Wing behind my back, because you guys need to figure out how to make it so that you always win against me.
So thank you again for bringing me onto the show. So my Discord name is J7. I've been playing X-Wing since its inception. I actually started out not liking the game at all because my first game was a very, very bad negative play experience. My opponent
Did it have
decided to
Turkle
play
Mugs in it?
No, he played Luke Skywalker. He was just a core set, right? So he played Luke Skywalker with R2D2, and then he gives me 2 Academy ties. And 1.0 you could just regen and boost and do whatever you want, right? So yeah, he basically turned me off to the game really hard, and he was a jerk about it. It wasn't until like the Phantoms came out that I got really into the game, and during that whole time my brother was like, yo, you gotta play this game is great and whatever. I'm like, I don't know. But when the Phantoms came out and I saw my first Worlds, which was Whisper versus Han, that really like got me into the game, and I've been a fan ever since. Um, so I'm here in Central Florida, near Charles over here. We play in our league locally here on Wednesdays, and yeah, just enjoy the game a lot. I've done quite a I've had some achievements in X-Wing. I have actually managed to get to the top tables here before COVID. The last 2 regional events that we had for the southeastern United States made top 4 and the top table for the regional over here. So that was really good. And then beyond that, just do my TTS events here for on GSP, and I made it top 30 or top 16 on one of the events. I forget which. But yeah, I love the game. Love teaching it whenever I can, and yeah, have a lot of fun with it.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you on the show. We wanted to broaden the spectrum a little bit and bring a little bit more variety to the show in terms of ensuring that we had some other skill sets, right? And try to build out so as people, for example, Matt is very busy with his business right now. So Matt is going to be a little bit less infrequent until he gets past this new year here. His business is pretty much taken off, I guess. Which is a good thing for him, right? Because this show sure as hell doesn't make $4,000 a month. So, yet. Hey, well, if you want to help us make $4,000 a month, we would love that. We will put tournaments on every freaking weekend if we could do that.
No pressure, guys.
Yeah. Speaking of that, you can subscribe to us.
Nabi, if you want to be our isophane, we will gladly let you.
Hey, we'll even change the logo to add an A-wings into the middle of it and get rid of the X.
Absolutely, we would.
And you can make him whatever color you want.
And then, as he progresses, we'll eventually change it to RZ2. Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. Well, thank you, CJ. Again, Krayt, welcome to the show. We are very happy to have other people joining us on the show. So
awesome.
With that being said, why don't we jump to our first segment? So our first segment is, we're going to do Krayt Cup first. Never mind. We're going to do Krayt Cup. That's what we should do. So Charles and I had a very good week for our team in Krayt Cup. We won our overall series. 2 out of the 3 games were all extremely close. John's game, in fairness, John's game, in fairness, was he had it was back and forth till about towards the end, and then John kind of pulled it away. Those X-Wings really do kick when they kick. So thank you, Knob. There you go. Charles, does that mean we have to change one of the symbols to an A-wing now?
Hey!
Anyway, so John's game went pretty well. My game, I lost. I lost by, what was it, 6 points?
Yeah, it was super close.
Yeah. When everybody goes, I should have ran. I should have just ran. That's what I should have done. Just ran with my stupid swarm. Ran away. He ended up taking 1.5 freaking things out at the end and winning. So, but it was a really good game.
I believe in my chat commentary, I specifically said at a specific moment, I was like, Chris should have run here. And then I openly said, he won't because it's not his play style.
Yep.
He's going to get hyper aggressive. He's going to turn in. He's going to do this. And it's exactly what the hell you did.
I think that turn where you bumped your 2 vultures there on that last turn, I think that's what that hurt you, because if you would have been able to reverse the order, you could have barrel rolled and then calculated, and that would have saved your drone right there at the end.
Yep. And if I could have prevented that target lock with them as well. I mean, I will tell you, if they didn't have regen, I easily had that game handily won. It's those bloody regens that, that just get you. And, there were some turns where I had 2 drones just blank out, or roll 1 hit out of 3 red dice, right? Again, it's not the dice's fault, but there is certain times where if I could have got a little bit more damage, it would have made it a little bit easier. Yeah, I didn't think of it, to be honest with you. I'll be honest, I wasn't actually calculating score at that point, and in fairness, he turned his I thought he had 1 more shield that he didn't have, that he had regen, and he turned in on me when I thought he was actually turning away. So what I was doing, and now the bump was my own fault. I out of order hit those 2 droids. But the issue I had was the fact that I thought he was going to go the other way, so I turned in an effort to say, hey, I'd be able to get you if you didn't go far enough and get behind you, and then it didn't work because I was trying to get the block on some of them, and then he just one banked in, and it was, over.
Yep.
Charles's game was really close. Charles made probably less mistakes than I did. Other than there was 1 counter net he dropped that I didn't understand the reason for it, but other than that, Charles's game, even with losing that 1 ship pretty much right away, I mean, you had Soontir's number and you had Vader's number. Now, him hitting a rock did not help, I'll be honest. That was that definitely was a big misplay on his behalf. But in reality, even if he had not hit that rock, you had a higher probability of being able to take it out with what you had going on there.
So I'm going to say a couple of things, and then I'm going to take a back seat to the 2 of you. Both of you have had an opportunity to either watch live or watch the replay of the game, and I'm going to let you analyze my play, right? Because I feel as though it's probably one of the best games of X-Wing I played. I will say that as soon as I ghosted Soontir, the first thing I did was message John and just very clearly put Ace of Legend my ass. He got ghosted by an I2 V-Wing.
That is true.
For those of you who are new to the show, the reason that needed to be done was John's favorite pilot is Soontir Fel. And John and I have had an ongoing rivalry as to who is a better pilot in game-wise, whether it's Fen Rao or Soontir Fel. And I believe that Fen Rao is the best ace in the game. And so anytime that I have the opportunity to kill Soontir Fel, I make sure that I let John know just how badly he died. So beyond that, no, Poe is terrible. Shut up, Nami. So go ahead, analyze my play, because the only thing that I can say that I was happy that I did, which is something I never do, Chris, which is what I made fun of you for, I actually disengaged. I actually pulled
Yeah.
3 ships out of the damn fight and got them as far away from things as they possibly could. I was
Yeah.
proud of that. Beyond that, please analyze my play in the game and tell me if there was anything I could have done differently or better. And I will answer any questions that you have in reference to counter net drops or anything.
Yeah, that first counter net drop I thought was weird. I don't think it made a difference in the game, really. I mean, you didn't really get a lot of opportunity to drop them. So you were going for a niche. If went this way, boom, it would happen. I I
Yep.
I didn't personally, just because I've flown Soon's here and I've flown these other ships. There's no way that guy was going to do that. Like, that would be a very illogical Soon's here move on his behalf. Um, I see why you did it, but I would, again, it's inconsequential for the game, and then in the long run, it did stay out there, so it forced people to stay away from that area. Though you came pretty bloody close at least once to hitting it again. God damn it!
I did. You're not wrong. The reason I dropped that specifically was I was playing against a guy that I've never played before. If it had been John, I wouldn't have done that because there's no way John does that maneuver. But I didn't know what he was going to do, and I needed to limit multi-action ships as much as I possibly could. And so by at least dropping it there, I knew he wasn't going there. And I could, do my K turns and I could maneuver my ships away from things as much as possible because I knew he would not go there. And that's all I cared about. Because realistically, I still had 2 proxy mines at that point, 3 proxy mines at that point. So it's just one of those things where I dropped it just to drop it. So
Yeah, I think that was actually a smart play because Duchess still had her seismic charge at that point. She still had 1 left. So just closing off the gap there, or at least area of denial for that particular area, helps sets up your other turns where you just turned around and came in and didn't just close the gap. And that, I think, even though ultimately, he didn't go over it, just having that portion of air denial there to like block off a lane where they can get away, that's definitely a really good spot. So
Yeah,
yep.
the proxy mine addition. So, and maybe this is more of a question for you. I'm almost more, if you're gonna swap out for the mines, I like thermal in the long run better. Like, I see the logic in them, but the way you run your list is very blocky, and then you start to separate them apart. There's a couple opportunities. If your ships have been a little bit farther apart, you could have dropped a proxy mine, and it would have been immediate area denial for Soon's here or Duchess. Like, a couple of times, Duchess just came in there, and it was like she knew you weren't going to drop a proxy because you got to move first, and the one that had a proxy where it was positioned in that swarm, and it's not really a swarm, but in that 5-ship list, it was a lot harder. I was very surprised they went after R2D2 first because you didn't have Ayla secure on her. So, like, it seemed a little silly to me personally. Like, why are we going after R2D2 this aggressively? I mean, like, they just eliminated
target.
R2.
Yeah, I think he was just the easy target, honestly, with the 1 agility versus 3. I think he was just the easier target.
Yep.
Maybe, I guess, right? I mean, but the points aren't there anymore like they were before. Your R2D2 is not worth anything compared to what it was. You lost 16 points on it.
Yep. And I'm gonna, to be fair, I'll probably end up switching it again. Hey, Catherine, before the next round. But that being said, I don't know why they went at R2. I mean, R2 is the most points on my team at 41. Or in that case, it was actually a little bit more at that point. But you know what I mean? He is the heaviest points. So I think it's jump out to an early lead and then just count on your ships to be able to pick off V-Wings to stay ahead. And unfortunately, that strategy did not pay off for him.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe it was because they just wanted that ion turret or ion cannon off the board, right? I mean, in fairness, you start ionizing aces and they die. It's not even a question. So, other than that, I don't think you did really bad. I mean, you hit the rock with blue. That was a little surprising. And then you had a couple, like, what you did with blue when you first moved it out of the way, I think was a misdial set, is my assumption. I didn't quite understand that move either, but
What's that?
when your blue V-wing went to, I guess in my world it was to the right. Like I don't know, like you went away from the action quite a bit with blue, and then when you started to turn it around to hit that rock again, and like I didn't I assumed you just dialed in the wrong maneuver because that blue could have gone the opposite way and then barrel rolled or boosted and stayed away from some of the shots.
So there was a point at the end of the game where blue dropped that Connor net right onto Vader, and blue did a huge like maneuver to get out, whereas instead I could have done a K turn and it would have given me an extra shot on the only ship that he had remaining. And the reason I did that was because of a miscalculation on my part. I thought Vader had more health than he did, and I didn't realize that the one Connor net would have killed him.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't want to turn around and be face to face with Vader and give him points. At the end of the game, it just became get the ships that are worth the most as far away from any shot as possible, and then try and get a couple of shots if I can.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was.
But yeah, it was a good game overall.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have those every once in a while, Jay. Smart decision making capabilities. It doesn't happen very often, but man, it does happen.
Well, either way, we have this is next week. They have an extra day they added to the league because of the new rules changes, and they're offering for people to drop. Blah blah blah. I don't know why anybody would drop. It didn't cost us anything. So, but anyway, so we don't actually have lists to compare tonight. So, maybe we'll get together during the week and do it. I don't know. It just kind of depends. I took a new job, so my schedule is very hectic for the next week and a half. So either which way, we'll talk about it on Thursday when we do our Thursday night stream. So, with that being said, let's hop over to our Aces High discussion. So this was leaked. I don't know if it was legally leaked, illegally leaked. I'm not going to ask the questions. I just know that there's a bunch of images that showed up about a new Aces High play kit. What's kind of exciting to me is it's an organized play kit, and I don't care who it came from, right? It does have AMG's logo on it, so they at least did not print this until AMG took over. So that's a fact.
Yep.
We're gonna go through some of these. I don't know how much time we'll spend on it. We'll see, I guess, as we go through. But I was kind of excited, not that I really like Aces High, but our local is picking up people. So, for example, we're getting we have 3 newer players, one brand new player that hasn't even bought anything for the game. They're just using our lists, or our ships, which is good, right? I told them they don't buy shit for, like a couple of months and play everybody else's stuff before you decide to buy into Separatists or Empire. That's what I said,
So there's a statement that was made in the chat, and I want to address it and ask a dumb question.
Sure.
So Twitchy said Aces High should be something I as a customer can buy off the shelf. Am I missing something? Because Aces High there's nothing special. It's your ships that you already have. It's just a different game format. The only thing that's missing are those hyperspace tokens, right? Where you
the quick
pitch the
build
ship
cards
in.
too.
Yeah, but you don't have to have the quick build cards. Oh, yeah. I would like to be able to buy those bomb cards that have the effect of the bomb on it. Yes, I agree. But that's something that should have, in my opinion, that should have been how they were printed to begin with. The fact that the bomb and the effect are 2 completely different cards allows me to forget so many more things.
And I agree with you. So I'll get the answer to that question is, should it be something you could buy off the shelf? Yes and no. I think the idea behind this kit, because you're right, Charles, you could play Aces High, and we're going to go through that in a second, like the rules that they put together. If you bought the Epic kit, it has this type of stuff in it, right? I'm sorry, it's not the Epic kit. I can't remember the name of the stupid kit, but it's the kit that has all the fun, crappy little things. I think it is the Epic kit. Maybe it is the Epic kit. Epic Battles. There you go. It's called the Epic Battles. And Aces High rules and things are in there. And so, yes, anybody can play it. I agree. I want those cards too, especially the bomb cards, because the bomb cards for me are the only ones I actually care about. I don't care about quick builds. I don't like quick builds unless you're going to let me play quick builds in a competitive format where they're going to be cheaper. Then I will care once I get pricing. I don't think they're going to price them correctly, in my opinion. But I don't think to begin with this should be something that's released to the public. I apologize, Switchy. I know that's probably not like the answer you're looking for. I want this to go into stores. Now I do think if somebody, because typically these kits are sold rather cheap. Like, I'll be honest, like our store gets these kits very cheaply, typically, especially when they have no models with them. I'm a little confused why that box looks so big, and now I'm kind of wondering if it's just a small card size box and it just looks too big in that picture. But the big thing for me, right, is that this is meant to drive people coming into locals. I would hate, I would hate if I could go out and buy this. Like, I probably would have less likely opportunity to go play in a store if I could just buy the damn bomb cards. Honestly, like, I probably would. I don't care for the Aces Highs specifically. But if that means that's how I get the bomb cards, I'll go play it.
So there is a one to kind of address the size of the box. I think the reason why the box is so big is that the actual pilot cards are turret size, like the Armada ship.
Okay.
So they probably just need the larger thing. The other thing about this is because it looks like this is a card only pack on it. This is going to be sold at a much lower price point than some of the other OP kits that came with like templates and dice and whatever. Those I think used to come in at about like $80 or $90 or something like that. So this is more of an incentive for shops to pick it up and run smaller, more in casual like tournaments. Because I mean, you can pick this up and set the price point of entry for like an Aces High tournament if you wanted to, or even just a regular tourney at like $5. Right? The shop is going to make their money, and you're going to bring in hopefully newer players who are going to be interested to try out like this type of event at a lower price point. And especially with Aces High, you buy a ship off the rack, and you're good to go. You already have your dials, you already have your ship that you're going to run, and can have at it. I think this is a pretty good pack for AMG to release, so that way they can at least bring in new players. At least in a more casual sense.
And speaking more to our local, right? Because the way our locals run for most of the places that do it here in Orlando is you pay an entry fee to play a game of X-Wing. And you could probably play 2 or 3 games of Aces High in the same amount of time and the same amount of space that we're currently getting a game of X-Wing. I would be highly more incentivized if I could play more than one game to drive the half hour to the store and pay the entry fee. That's not anybody's fault. That's just how it works down here. So it is what it is. But you know what I mean? That's just for me.
Yeah, and so I will find out, and I don't think Corey's watching, but I'll message him in a minute, and I'll find out if because I have 2 local stores we go to, and one local store seems to get more of these kits, because so we actually are starting our local is not going to become a league, right? And we're going to we're not force, we're going to build that league entry, and like, so we have a special set of format rules and everything, but if they picked up this kit, we would make that one of the nights. And I'll find out what the price is if they really do get it. But so like the way our local does it is when they do some of these things, they basically have the entry fee, and then they, depending on the winners, they'll pass out other things. So like in some one of the stores we go to, you get in-store credit that you can spend on in-store stuff. We encourage people to buy X-Wing because that's the point of this, right? Come play X-Wing. And for example, our league, we got some older OP kits that not everybody else had. Excuse me, not everybody else had the opportunity to use during 2020. And we went ahead and got these OP kits because we have so many new players. They probably will like some of these cards. Our entry fee is $15 a person, and the league's like 6 to 8 weeks, and everybody gets participation prizes, and then the top like 3 people are going to get money towards the store. and we designed our league specifically to be aggressive against veteran players. I guess I fit into that veteran player, unfortunately. So I'm at a disadvantage, but it's good for some of the newer players because we're trying to encourage them to be able to be the ones to win, right? Like, I really like to win, but we switched up the competitive side of this so that if I play a newbie and I win, I get almost no points in the league. If the newbie plays me and actually wins, they get tons of points, right? And so anyway, our store does things a little differently. Because you can set your own entry fee. You don't have to be specific. And so that's whatever the store thinks they can get. And so we're the ones out there selling that shit up to people to try to get them to come in and play. So hopefully our store gets this. I don't know if they will or not. So Charles, to go back to let's go back to the points, right? Let's talk a little bit about the points values. And because Nabi, I agree with you. Why do I have an I6 fire spray versus an I3 A-wing? Which one's going to win? There's some rules, and we did a segment. Did we do a segment on this, Charles? Like, this is like episode 10 or something like that.
Something like that. We did an Aces High episode.
So Charles will look up the episode for us in a few minutes and tell us what episode. We covered Aces High and all the rules. I understand the logic in the I6 versus an I3, but the way the points are scored are completely different, right? It's not the same thing. And I don't know. I mean, again, every store is different, so yes, like our store, we bring the cards or we bring the dials and the ships, but we would all be pitching in for that. So the original Aces High that was aired at Worlds was an 80-point squad builder, right? You could build up to 80 points. That's what you got. You must bring a hyperspace point token because of how they enter and exit the field. The actual Aces High scenario in the Epic play has different squad levels at 50, 75, 100, and 125. And they're different dot points based on what squad level it is. Let's look at some of the cards, unless either of you have comments before we go forward. All right, I'm going to guess.
Not as of yet.
Okay. So let's look at
I will let you know that it was episode 8.
That was close. That's pretty close.
We did talk about Aces High. Matt did the entire segment on introducing Aces High in episode 8. So yeah, you were reasonable. You were in the ballpark.
Yeah. I don't know why. Stupid spreadsheet. All right. Anyway. All right. So here you go. So here's the cool looking bomb. It's Proton Bombs. I don't think there's anything special in here, Charles, that I could tell. They look like the same thing.
Just a proton bomb that has the device and the bomb on the same thing. So
yeah,
it looks really cool. Now, I'll be honest with you.
Do you guys think that they will include these, or at least this style of cards going forward for like the new card packs that will come out for multi-faction stuff?
I really hope so.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned though, only see here because they have a different artist, right? And then they have a 21 specifically on here for the OP kit year. And these used to be like collectible type things. That's why.
Right, but the card format itself.
Oh, the format? Oh. If they're smart, they will 100% do that because there's zero reason why you wouldn't do this. Think about an Electro Shave Cloud for frick's sake, Like, how much nicer would that be? The only thing I worry about is if they decide they're going to start eroding, some of these. But
I guess
FFG didn't do a lot of erratas, did they?
I was going to say my argument for that is a lot of these bombs have existed since 1.0 in the exact same state that they're in now. There's not been a whole lot of errata to bombs or mines.
Okay, so
yep.
And there's the next one, Proxy Mine. There's a card, looks really cool. I like the Proton better, but I'll take a Proxy Mine one too. I really like it. Notice there is no artist name on here. I don't know why.
Because I think it's a.
I think that's the old art.
I was going to say I think that's art that existed. They didn't hire an artist to do this, so this may be like Fantasy Flight art that was done by an employee. So maybe no art. It belongs to Fantasy Flight and now belongs to AMG through the passing of the licensing.
Fair enough. All right. So the next one is Obi-Wan in an ETA. Again, it may be because of the card text, because what Obi-Wan does, it seems a little silly. I don't know. I could be a little incorrect. Like, I got Obi-Wan, but I don't get Anakin. And then the next question is if you do run Anakin in the Aces High, do you get that, even though they're not friendly? I don't know.
So Obi-Wan affects himself.
He does, but not in the same way as if you had an Anakin, though, right?
No, exactly. It's
No,
after
exactly.
you or a friendly Anakin ship at range 03 executes a maneuver. If there are more enemy ships than other friendly ships. So in this case, every ship in your arc is going to be any. So his ability will trigger every turn as long as there's a ship in arc.
Exactly.
You may spend a force to gain a focus.
Yep. So what I want to say though, okay, when I play this, typically I'm using it with Anakin. So I get it. Okay, fine. I get it. You can still use it. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. They also added patience. Why the fuck you would do that is beyond me. When that's the only ship on the table. But I
You
mean,
never know when you need an I-5 blocker, to regen force.
you don't need an I-5 blocker to regen force when you're the only bloody ship on the damn table. I don't know. Whatever. I mean, this is cool that you can do that to regain your force, I guess. I like the extreme maneuvers ad. I think that's good. Now, hey, the one thing I want to point out is, see how there's no cannons on here? My question becomes is, and if these do say AMG's name on them, so the question is, did AMG actually design this stuff, or is this just them putting their name on FFG stuff? And did FFG essentially say, we fucked up on the cannon, you're not getting a cannon, and that was a decision made well before AMG walked into the door? Because this makes you question it. I don't know if it matters, but Chris is like nitpicky about those type of things. So
I'd say that this was something done by AMG because they've had the product for about a year now, actually over a year now, and this might be their first actual thing that they've actually done and produced, something to go along with the points releases. Timing is a little tight there, but I think this is done on purpose by AMG.
yeah, so they have patience. Where's patience?
So force ability.
Force. It's double force on the card, even though he only has one in the SB. They kind of broke the rules there for that ability.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So that's a quick build that can't exist in the game normally without
Unless
it
he
being
was
a
Yoda.
quick build.
Yeah. If he was Yoda, there would be no problem. So.
But he's Obi-Wan. He's very clearly not Yoda.
Yep.
All right, never mind. When I click quick build, it does not do what I thought it would. We're not going to do that. All right, so I don't. If I'm an Ace player, I'm not running this. I know why they want to include it. I'm not running this personally. I would be like, give me something else. Not only do I not want to only shoot one die, you idiot. I don't want to shoot one red die.
Why would you shoot one red die?
Because patience gains a deplete token to recover a force.
If you so the thing is yeah, if you need to. But if you're gonna have someone lined in bullseye anyway, thank you for the subscription. If you have someone in bullseye, it just makes it a 2-die bullseye attack.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't think it's good. Just personally, not. This seems a very silly build, especially when we look at what the next one is, which is Ayla Secura with a million things. So if we go back to our Obi is worth what? And I don't disagree with Obi. So we have extreme maneuvers, and then what is patience 2? So that's a 57-point ship. That's what that is.
Nabi, I would generally jump on your hype train for what you just said, but I've gotten more damage on Aces range 3 through a rock than logically stand to exist.
Yeah, I've done it to Charles on stream, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, so let's go on to Ayla Secura, because this is actually, like, okay, this is a decent build. I think Afterburners is a weird choice, honestly. You do get one less force token, so maybe you give Obi to the new player. If I had to pick between these two ships, I would immediately take Ayla in a heartbeat. Like, it wouldn't even be a question. And so Ayla's, that he basically 0 to 1 performs an attack. The defender may change one blank result to an eyeball result. So it wants you to be farther away. I wish Ayla had an extra force, but that Afterburners is pretty dope. That means you don't have to spend your charge on it. R2D2 is really good. It was really, really good in this thing. And then you have outmaneuver, which I like outmaneuver on her, and I like extreme maneuvers, at least in this format. I would never put outmaneuver, I don't think, on her normally. But again, they're leaning into this extreme maneuvers. I think, like, Charles, what is the card that you always put that you could put on Fen if you have one talent slot and you're like, oh, I want to do a hard? What is that card called?
Daredevil.
And what does that do?
Exactly what extreme maneuvers does, only just not a force.
Not the stress.
Yeah, you get a stress. You don't get an action. Like, that's your action. So you can't do Fen's, like, you just can't do the same thing. Like, so extreme maneuvers is really good. Like, especially for its points. What is that card cost normally? Not extreme maneuvers, the Predator or whatever one you just said. 2 points?
Daredevil's 2 points, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Daredevil is 2.
So it is 3 more points, but if you aren't force starved, there you go. And maybe this is where I would say, hey, you could put another force thing in here and give her the patience.
Yeah.
I mean, patience
honestly,
on here makes more sense.
You could do the 5 straight and then just boost and do the extreme maneuvers, and now you've just done like a 5 or a 6 speed hard turn, and you're gonna outmaneuver some people doing that. So,
yeah, I like Ayla. I think this is a good one. Now, you want to?
She's a great crew.
We're at 57. She's a great crew.
Yeah.
57 points, right? So now let's add all these things in here. Oops. What do we have in here? Outmaneuver. Outmaneuver is expensive too. Yes.
And then we have, I believe, outmaneuver is based on initiative.
Oh, there you go. Look, here is a 75-point ship versus our Obi at 53 or 55. What? Why? Like, if we go back here, and I'm not trying to pick on AMG and say this is stupid because I really like this kit. If we come here, Obi is a lightweight squad. This is the 3-point. Ayla's the 3. I don't know.
How many force points does Ayla have?
Just 2.
2. Yep.
Okay, so Obi with 3 force has more capabilities to do things than Ayla with 2.
Sure, but points wise, with what either these cards need to be worth more or Obi shouldn't have gone down. That's all I'm saying. Like, if we're looking at current costs, this kitted out the way it is 75. This is 55. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to a Boba Fett. We got a Boba Fett.
Yeah, but it's not one that counts for anything. It's crap.
It's baby Boba.
It's
baby
toddler Boba.
If there are no other friendly ships at 0 to range 2, you may change one of your blanks to an eyeball result. I wonder how often
always.
that's going to
always.
Yep. So it's a free eyeball. That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good.
Super lone wolf, basically.
Yeah. And you get delayed fuses and seismic charges, which whatever. I don't know.
You never know you're gonna fight that Obi-Wan. You gotta make it thematic.
Oh, God. What does baby Boba even cost? 70. All right, so we have a 74 point ship. So at least this one is like a lot closer to Ayla. But that ability, that seems like a mistake to do. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't.
I agree.
But it's only hold on, because it's only on defense.
You're right. That's fair. And you only get 2 green dice, so maybe it won't trigger as often.
So.
That's true. Now, if you had stealth device on here. All right, let's keep moving. I'm sorry.
Yep.
All right.
I'm just gonna let that one whiz on by, man.
Now we have Jango Fett with Deadeye Shot. I don't understand that either.
81 points. That's the highest so far, I think, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's more than Ayla, and it's an I6, and I can shoot out the front. I don't know. This seems like a huge mistake to put in here. I know people like this one. Okay, hey, fine. At least it's an I3. But yeah, let's put Django in here. No, thank you. Oh, and now we got Arvel. Who put Arvel in here? Where's my ZZ? Who put Arvel in here?
Hey, it's Arvel with intimidation and juke and prockets and a hull and shield upgrade.
An E-wing, basically.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
All
where
right,
does Nabi sit on the hull upgrade procket A-wing?
He would never run it unless, except for in this format. Where is Arvel in here? Oh no, the Arvel's fucking Rebel.
Yeah, I3 Rebel. Mm-hmm.
Where's my A-wing?
RZ2? No, RZ1.
And you said it has a Brocket on it?
Yep,
Procket,
juke, intimidation, hull, and shield upgrade, which it doesn't normally get. But I think that's 7 and 8 points apiece on a 3 agility ship.
Yeah, it's a low pointing ship. So yeah, what did you say you think it is?
It's 7 points for hull upgrade and 8 points for shield upgrade. So that's 15 points total.
So we're at 46. So that's 50, 61.
61 for an A. That's an expensive A-wing.
It's beefy for 3 and 3. 6 health total. It's beefy.
Yeah, that's you're getting into the what's that? So it's 2, 3, 3, 3. Like you're getting into defender territory there.
Except for I've only got 2 hull and 3 hull and 3 shields. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's 6.6 health. I don't know. All right, I changed my mind a little bit. I think Juke's dumb. When am I gonna ever fucking evade with Arvel? I don't.
I mean, at I3, you're gonna get shot first. But yeah, unless you've spent your procket. I mean, yeah, you're never gonna evade.
Yeah, I like the intimidation. I don't actually disagree with that one. You know,
well,
and I don't
especially with
disagree
his
with
ability. Like intimidation
exactly.
should be stapled on Arvel at all times anyway, because he can shoot at range 0. So,
so I would, if I were running a tournament, I would actually probably run this one. So far, if I can't get Ayla because everybody else wants it, I would probably run Arvel. Oh my god, all right, Commander Malorus.
This was a head scratcher. I was like, what?
With mag pulse warheads, a hull upgrade, and a shield upgrade. Where's my tactic? Oh, I don't need tactical offer because I'm never going to coordinate.
Yeah, because you're the only ship on your squad. So
the funny thing is that the ability on Malorus doesn't work with mag pulse because it's primary only. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. This one isn't a horrible one. In fairness, this one's not that bad. I don't. Commander Pryor is decent to some extent. Because the chances that ships are going to want to do, be more stressed. So I guess let's go up and look at ones. This one will be stressed. Never stressed. Never stressed. All right, never stressed. So far, none of them are going to be stressed. So never mind. So far, it makes no sense to me.
Nope, everybody's either spending force or not stressing. So,
yep. I mean, I guess Magpult is not something I disagree with. I like Magpult's warheads personally. But because especially you're an I5, you have the ability to start stripping things. I don't know. Could be beneficial. Usually, I wouldn't run that though if that's the only bloody ship I have left. Like, in fairness, why would I care about stripping tokens from them shooting somebody else unless they haven't shot at me? And this thing doesn't move worth poop.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, wait, hold on, dude. We got 2 Zeiss shuttles. We got Gideon now.
This one is better.
Yep.
By far.
And sensor buoys make sense, 100%. And snapshot makes sense, 100%. I would run
Ability
this
doesn't
one
work
too.
with snap though, right? Am I
Hmm?
right?
What?
Because it's primary on Gideon, so snapshot wouldn't work on it.
Well, for the re-rolls and things like that? No, you wouldn't. That would be
Yeah.
pretty. Come on, man. That would be pretty broken if you could do that. Because
Well,
snapshot is
can't-
meant to be rollout. That's it. You don't do
I
shit
was
to
gonna say,
it.
you can't mod snapshot anyway, so
Yeah.
Unless you're turf or near and just roll an additional die. That's different. So.
I agree, Twitchy. I have not seen aces yet.
All right, hold on. Obi-Wan's kind of an ace.
Django.
No, Django's not an ace. I don't care. Django's not an ace. Ayla, I could see it. I don't agree that Django's anyway an ace.
Oh, we got an ace here. Kazuda Ziono. Here we go.
Are you
the best pilot for the New Republic? There you
go. So you get advanced slam and a hull upgrade. That's it. Oh, and you get Cass's fireball upgrade. That's it. Not this one seems like a whiff and a miss. No offense to Nabi.
I don't even know why it's included.
Yeah, I mean, this is what 50 points compared to everything else. Yeah.
I don't even know if it's even that.
Oh, they gave us a second fireball. Yeah.
Yep. Yay. This one at least has snapshot, right? Like that makes sense.
Here's an idea. Don't give us fucking a T-70. Don't give us an X-Wing for resistance. Give us the ship that was on screen for a whopping like 30 seconds.
All right. Hey, quick question. Okay, so I just got a dumb question. We've got advanced slam on here, right?
Uh-huh.
We're playing an Aces High tournament where we got to hit people to score points. If I slam and use a slam action, I'm taking a disarm token, correct?
Yes, although you have the option of just suffering a crit. Instead.
Okay. All right. And maybe that's why that's in here. Other than that, it just seems a little silly to me too. Hey, let me just take damage on myself so I could give you points. I don't know. Whatever.
This is starting to look like a bunch of people at AMG got together with Yasby and just hit the randomize button for a single ship.
Like I don't get the fireballs. I don't get. I don't get this. It's same with this coaxium. I mean, at least this pairs with the slam action, right? I mean, at least this one pairs together.
Yeah.
But again, here, I don't know. Yeah, okay. So they both have a hull upgrade. So they're essentially saying, "Hey, use this ability once." I like snapshot personally on here, but I don't know.
I wonder if they're trying to push certain ships that they have like an overstock on. Maybe.
Well, the fire spray.
I mean, obviously the Adas no, but
yeah,
yeah.
I don't know about the fire sprays either. Maybe.
No, it can't. Switchy. Snapshot doesn't trigger if you're disarmed.
Yeah. All right, so we have Rampage. I like this one. Personally,
yeah, it's a heavy. Those are great ships.
Yeah, I like
the
it.
Empire
the
Empire does not have a better chassis out there other than the TIE Heavy, right?
No, they do. They do. This is definitely not an ace either. Like, where's my Whisper or I don't know, maybe Vader? If I'm gonna allow
Soontir Fel is the ace of legend.
No. We're gonna stay away from that. That's a negative play experience for somebody that don't know how to run Soontir. That's like you're just done. Like you're done. See you. Have a nice time. I would run this. Deadeye Shot seems stupid to me. I'd run this though. I like TIE Heavies. I like Rampage. Sync laser cannons. I mean, at least they got this right. You know, they could have put the other one on there. At least they put the correct freaking config on there. Yeah. Oh, look who it is. Skywalker. You know, everybody's. Oh, hey, ace. Hold on. Instinctive aim and proton torpedoes. Hey, come here, Jango Fett. Come here. Let's. Oh, I don't even have to take mods. I could take defense. Oh, come on.
So to be fair, though, like if we're being honest, that's the most thematic one there is.
Yep.
Because the only
that's
time he's
true.
ever fired proton torpedoes was based on instinct. That was a force ability that he triggered from Obi-Wan. So thematically, this is the most accurate ship thus far.
Yep. Whoever, like, you know who gets this if we play? This is the brand new player that don't know how to fly. That's who gets this. Hey, Corey,
Yup.
if you're listening to this, you don't get this ship. You, Sean, me, none of us get this. Period.
You
No
get-
question.
You get baby Boba Fett.
I'll take baby Boba Fett, actually. All right, so here I get a little excited, right? Because I saw a droid, but I saw it's a tri-fighter. And, okay, now here's your independent calculate, fire control systems, and a shield upgrade.
Pretty decent, I say.
Pretty
I actually
decent?
like this particular tri-fighter. I've actually used this a lot when I'm playing SEPs. It's actually a very, especially with independent calculations, just having that double calculate on those turns where you're just going to go in and try to punish. It's a fairly decent ship, especially now with the shield upgrade. That's 4 hull, and you can get around the board pretty good.
Yep. And at least with this one, again, it pairs a little differently. You get a lock. With this ship, you want to spend your lock to look at the dial, you know? But then it screws up fire control systems, so I don't know. Whatever. I don't disagree with this one. This one, I would run this too. And that's because I'm a droid player, so I would run this 100%. I don't think points value, we haven't even been checking points value, but I'm pretty sure this one shows up pretty slim here.
Yeah, like not even.
I don't even know if
Probably
it's
like
50
45
points,
points.
is it?
Yeah, it's like 45 points ish.
What else did I have on it? A shield upgrade.
Shield upgrade, FCS, and independent, which is free, I believe.
Yeah, it is. So it's 2 of these. Oh, I see what they're doing there. Oh, it's 48 points, though. I mean, is that the lowest we've seen, or was Arvel the lowest we've seen? I don't know. Maybe they're gonna have 2 classifications. Let's move on. Hey, look, another tie heavy. That's almost an ace.
Yeah. So his ability doesn't work on himself, I don't think, because there's no way to shoot out your sides.
If you're in, no, there's not. You're right.
But
But if you're
0 too, so you're friendly to yourself. You're in every one of your own arcs.
you have to be in the defender's side arcs. So if you're parallel with them, it's like Jay, I've gotten this to trigger before.
Oh, where they're like a little bit out of an angle.
Yeah.
With the side arc also hits. Okay, all right, yeah.
If you're parallel to them, but you're a little farther ahead,
Yeah.
It like kind of like a Boba type situation.
So, Boozy, just so you're caught up, what we are looking at is a leaked kit, an OP kit, for an Aces High tournament, which is a different format of X-Wing, designed for like a 1 or 2 ship list that are under 100 points generally, and they're really, really quick. So these are quick build cards that are included in that kit. That's what we're looking at. These are not normal 2.0 X-Wing cards. You're correct.
I like the ion cannon on it. I like elusive on it. And the 2 of you have turned me onto elusive like you wouldn't believe. And you know I like stealth device. So on a 2 green or a 1 green die ship, stealth device will be gone round 1, but hey, at least I get to roll 1
shot.
Yep. At least I get to roll 1 extra green die 1 turn. I wouldn't run this either. I don't know. I like the ion cannon and elusive. I don't. Whatever. I'm done. Moving on. Oh look, we got another. Oh my god, none of these are aces. None of these are aces except for Luke.
That Fearsome Predator is not bad.
This isn't bad. It's not an ace though. So it has advanced sensors, which I think is unique. I've never thought about running that on a Fearsome Predator. Maybe because of the cost. Things pop.
13 points. Yep.
I would probably run this one too. I do because advanced says you can may take 1 action, and actually, if you're doing the calculate thing, you get the 2 calculates anyway. So you just can't do a red maneuver. You could do the blue maneuver. Okay, I like this one almost better than the other one, other than it's an I3. Because you would be able to do the advanced sensors as long as you weren't stressed, and then you would just do a blue maneuver to clear it. I like this one too.
Wait, what? What does a blue maneuver have to do with anything?
Because advanced said
The advanced sensors that independent calculate to get the two.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
And
Okay.
then clear
Yeah.
the blue.
So here's Catherine's chart. So I went ahead and threw that in there. I did not check any of Catherine's numbers, but so far they seem to look pretty identical to what we've been talking about. So we have, if we look in the midpoints categories, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8.
So I have a different question
Okay.
to ask.
All right.
How come there's no scum ace?
Yeah, where's my Fenra? You know,
I don't even care. I want a scum ship. There's not a one. Empire is represented, Rebel is represented, CIS is represented, Republic is represented, Resistance is represented. Where is scum?
I don't know, man. Like, that's a fair question.
Hell, even First Order is represented. Scum is the only faction not represented in this kit.
Is First Order really representative?
Hush you. The G shuttle is in there. You be quiet.
Yeah, and there's plenty of scum ships that they could have put in there.
Yep. You could have done Sarisu in an M3A or even one of the other lower initiative M3As.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, Catherine, I think you're right. Fett technically is scum. I mean,
Really? Can we scroll up and look at that card, Chris?
it's separatist, but Fett
So it's not scum. Thank you. Have a good day. I rest my case.
Maybe it was an accident that they included these ones in there instead of the. Wait, where's my real Boba Fett? There you go.
Yeah, give me scum Boba in a yes. Yeah, they feted it up. You're right, Catherine.
I don't know, man. So it is what it is. There's no going back. I don't want this to be a negative segment. I don't want to spend a lot of time bitching. I do agree with you, Charles. I think it's BS that we don't have scum in here. I don't understand the logic in that. So, I mean, what do I see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You could have given 2 more pilots and have an even 18. And then we could have matched these numbers up, right? Or 60, even 16. Damn it, I don't know how to count today. And we could have matched the numbers up and had equal parts, like lightweight, equal parts snub fighter, right? I don't know. I think this is weird. And I think if AMG is smart, they'll address this and have a conversation about it at some point here in the next month. Would be nice.
Guarantee you Torco Monks is going to be the ace chosen.
Yes.
No, my God, no.
Yes. 100% I'm in.
Look, we already bitched about these things not having aces.
Hawk aces. Yes. New meta.
Yeah. And you're right. I'm a little confused why I've got 4 separatists in here out of all the things, right? Why? Yeah. Why do I have 4 separatists in here? And where's my DBS 404? There you go. Give me that. Give me DBS 404 advanced protons and I don't know. Let me land on a rock.
This could also be like a soft confirm that AMG is going to make a Django card for, scum.
I don't think Charles is buying it. He's having a real hard time here.
He's all choked up. Yes.
All right. So I don't really have closing thoughts on it. I don't know. Like I guess I'm not now that I did. I'll be honest. So let me be honest. I did not look at any of your pictures, Psych Day, before we did this. I didn't go through any of the stuff to get peer reactions out of me, and my initial reaction is saying, I hope that kit costs $10, and all I want out of it is a stupid bomb cards. That's it. But if it brings more people in the locals, then I'll play
Yeah.
it. Whatever.
So I'm gonna pull a John here, right? Because this is like John's catchphrase anytime AMG changes something. Until I have the chance to play it out and try the single ship builds against each other and see how they play, I am reserving all negative judgment and complaining until I have an actual reason to do so.
Well, you could complain a little bit if you want. You didn't get any scum.
Yeah, I'll complain about that. Yeah, there's no scum.
Yeah, that's, I don't know.
Boo.
I just
That's
hope
weird
that,
to me too.
Hopefully going forward for upgrade cards only, not for like pilot cards. The design that they have for the bombs is something that they do going forward, because I think that that's an elegant way to present all the information without having to stop mid game and say, "Oh, hey, what does this bomb do?" You know.
So here's the issue that I have with the bomb cards. I wasn't gonna say it because you guys are happy with the bomb cards and it's fine, but I'm gonna shit all over it for just a second. We get this custom art that is gorgeous, right? On the side of the card that stares at the table because we need to be able to read the words.
All
so
right.
what's the point of
Stop it.
having the art?
Stop it. Stop.
And
I
it'll be
get-
at a sleeve.
stop.
No one gets to see the art anyway.
All
I
right.
don't sleep my stuff, man. I have a strict no food, no drink policy on my table. Yes.
Good night, Nora.
Good night.
Yeah, they don't have school tomorrow. So for anybody,
She's
before you
such a
judge me,
ham.
Nice.
before you judge me, my kids don't have school. So
Hey,
Snow
my
day?
kid ain't going to school either. She's going to Legoland tomorrow. So
Oh.
yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
We
Is
don't
it a
get to
snow
do
day?
that.
Is it a snow day, Chris?
No, it's not. It's teacher in service day. So,
Ah, fair enough.
and they need those. I didn't know they had off though. So I had my whole day planned to go into my office, and now I'm not going in. So,
Your new office or your old office?
for my current company, I still have another week left before I join the other team. So.
Just peace out.
No. Anyway, so let's not talk about my stuff. Let's talk about the rules update. So we promised we talk about it. We are not going to get to the meta bliss fortress thing tonight. It's just not going to happen. Not at all. I have enough. Look, we could
feel
probably
like-
spend the next 20 minutes on just
Hugs. Yes.
I feel like the Meta Fortress thing is starting to turn into Matt Damon on a Jimmy Kimmel show. Like every time he shows up, it's at the end of the show, and there's just not enough time for an interview segment, so he just keeps getting pushed off to the next episode and the next episode and the next episode, and that's what's happening to Chris' statistical analysis.
I know, and that's like my favorite part of the game. But we had some really major change ups, and I will be remiss if we don't have that conversation tonight, especially because I got to test some of these out this weekend. So the first major change we had is gas clouds no longer offer free evades. I don't know how I feel about that, honestly. I like it because it helps me as a swarm player, but I don't like it because it also harms me as a swarm player because I only get 2 green dice, and I kind of like that free evade. I don't like that aces get it, but I like when I get it. So
I'm a little mixed on it as well, because when you're running some very fragile aces, sincere foe, sometimes you just need that cloud to save you. But at the same time, they can be abusive, especially if you're just relying on that to constantly have your ship, get saved, and then you arc dodge and come around and you just table your opponent 200-0 because they're never landing a shot on you. I think that the part that was left that in my opinion should have been added on is making more consequences for the gas cloud. Honestly, I think that on a crit or a blank result, you should get a deplete token, because deplete is part of the game. It's something that should be implemented more in the game, and there should be consequences for going over the gas clouds. Other than just a 50% chance of just getting a strain token.
I don't agree.
Yeah.
I don't agree. And here's why. So there is one effect for the debris, right? Which is you get a stress and maybe a damage. There is one effect for an asteroid, right? Which is you skip your action and maybe a damage
And no shot.
and no shot. Well,
Unless
no,
you're a droid.
you could shoot if you go through a rock. You can't shoot if you land on it, but if you go through
Yeah.
it, you still get your shot. I think the gas cloud should be you get a strain or deplete with a chance for damage.
So
Make it crit only, like a debris cloud is.
How about
But
blank? What about would blank be better? Or no, there's more blanks, aren't there?
Yeah.
there's more blanks. So I kind of agree with you, Charge, but the only problem is that if you give the player the choice to take a strain or a deplete, they're gonna do it in favor. Like let's say they have like a bunch of ships behind them that they know that they're gonna get shot at, and they're gonna take a deplete every time just to make sure that they keep their greens up the entire time. And
What about a guaranteed ion token with a dice roll for either a stress or a deplete or a strain or a deplete?
that I don't know.
If
Mainly
it's an
because
ion
that
token,
would
nobody running them. You ain't
that's what I'm
running
saying.
gas
Like
cloud.
it disproportionately affects more on the smaller base ships than a medium or large would, because they could just go over the gas cloud and be like one ion, sure, okay, but a small ship that's going to be like
Sure,
horrible,
just
especially if you're a
spitballing,
droid.
right? Because the reason, and I understand the reason they changed it. The reason they changed it was because, statistically speaking, gas clouds were better to bring for almost any list except for a droid swarm um, in the game. You were more beneficial to bring gas clouds because you could fly through them, and there really was minimal
Consequence.
effect, and there was maximum gain. Because if I'm a big ship and you're shooting me through a cloud, I'm getting evade. No matter what my dice roll, I'm getting an evade. If I roll evade or focus, I get an evade. If I roll a blank, I get an evade. Like, there's no downside to the cloud other than, oh no, there's a chance I might get a straight.
Yep. In that aspect, I guess in that aspect, when you put it that way, I kind of agree. Let's get rid of the evade. That seems like a dumb mechanic that probably
Yeah.
should not exist.
Yeah.
For hitting an obstacle or being behind it. I mean, think of it this way: blackout. Oh, hey, I'm behind a gas cloud, and then I use
Yeah.
sensitive controls to barrel roll.
That's true.
Yeah. No. All right. So we'll move on from that. Chafe Cloud is now an obstacle and a device. Seems not like a dumb wording, but whatever.
Yeah, it was just a clarification on AMG's part because the original was like a little convoluted on how they were arriving to the same point. They cleaned up a lot of the language and the rules reference for that, and it also clarifies that you cannot add additional charges to the chaff cloud, from like delayed fuses. So you're only getting that one charge on it, and then it's gone the following turn. And it also adds the interaction with Scale Bombardier. So that would be, it's not on the FO Bomber, but I think on the K Wing, where you can, instead of doing the 3 bank or the straight, you can do like a 5 straight, get it farther out. So it makes it a lot more useful for those chassis. So.
Yep. Yeah, I like that they officially clarified the delayed fuse thing, because it's like, yep, just there's no reason to put 2 on there. We don't need this thing sitting out there longer, not for 4 points. Maybe if it was like 20 points, okay, fine. You could do that, but for 4 points, no way. I don't need this thing to be out there 3 churns, and the probability that you're going to be affected by it for 3 churns, that's just not a reality. Especially because if you get surprised the first churn, you're just going to fly through the damn thing the next turn if you can. Like, you're just going to go, like, screw it, The only, again, what it benefits? A droid swarm. Sadly enough, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It does. I can now land on it. I can land on this stupid thing. Officially, I can land on these things, and you can't target lock me, and I'm getting an extra dice. I don't know. Like, we'll see. There's only one ship, I think, no, you know what? There's 2 ships that can take that CIS. Oh my god. Anyway, we're going to,
So the one thing on that, because you brought up the droids, and I wasn't exactly clear on it. Now, when you're using the struts on the droid, and you're still on the chaff cloud, and you decide to stay put, right? You don't go off it. do you get jammed again, or can you still take an action because you're ignoring it?
Oh my god. I think you found. Hold on. Let's go look at that. Hold on. We're gonna go look at that a second. That's interesting to think about. Because do you which comes into play more often?
Yeah, because I mean, think about it. If you're a hyena and you're on it, right? You're not going to get locked because you can't be locked while you're on the chaff cloud. So that's an added like defensive buff for it. But I just wonder if you still get jammed, even though you're technically not going over it again. You just like you rotate or something.
All right. So landing strips say you can ignore obstacles at range 0.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So I think that would work. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have
can't be locked and
electroshape
you're getting the bonus.
missiles.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't have the card. Where's the card that usually pops up down here? Well, I guess it doesn't pop up. This becomes more important for droid swarms. Maybe I should have changed my list for Krayt Cup this week.
Play tested.
All right, so this sounds like we're gonna go to AMG, and I'm gonna turn this in. That's what this sounds like. I think I need to do that because I think we need to know. I think that's a good point, because if I can ignore all the effects. If you ignore the effects though and you're already target locked, do you not break target locks then? But then it says you can't be target locked while you're on it. I don't know. Like now we're in like this weird conundrum world.
I think the wording on it just means that the droid ignores it. So, but if
it's just like when Han
lock, they have to.
It's just like when Han target locks with Kira, right? I can ignore the rock for my shot to you, but the rock is still there, so I still get the trick shot. But when you shoot back, I'm not ignoring the rock, so I get the additional die from not, from the rock existing. So, all the shenanigans from having Kira Han.
Oh
so I think this just gives you like a CIS type situation of that where you can't be target locked, but you can still do all your shenaniganry while you're on it.
Yeah, we found your list for you, man. Yeah.
Yeah, Charles, can we email Chris and tell him we're going to change?
You can. Go ahead. I'm not changing my list.
So here's the worst part. You can run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drones and 1 bomber. Fuck it. I guess you're going to run 2 of them. That's what you're going to do. That way you get 2
remember,
clouds.
It only lasts 2 turns. But
Navi, the chaff is a debris cloud.
Oh my god. This is horrible, dude.
Yep.
In the most recent rules reference that they released, Navi, they specify that the chaff is a debris cloud.
Okay, so then it acts like a debris cloud, which is what a droid can land on and ignore everything. Yeah. No, it can't. No. Yes, it can.
Here's an idea. Because they also specified that the thing from the rig cargo chute is a debris field. Could you fly?
You can on cargo chute? Yeah.
Yeah. Could you fly a fire spray with rig cargo chute and then just park your droids behind it, and then just wherever you wanted to park your droid, drop the cargo chute, all the droids latch onto the cargo chute, and now you've got your own little island.
So you can actually run the cargo chute and the chaff missile on a fire spray.
You're not getting very many droids though. Like, let's just be honest.
But I mean, that's what two hyenas worth. I mean,
can someone pull up the rules reference for the chaff cloud?
All right, you know what? I'll do it right now. Hold on. You guys keep talking about crap and arguing about it. And I'll
I mean, the Separatist generic is 63 points base, and the hyena, the Separatist bomber that can carry the electro chaff is 29 points. So you're paying a little bit more, but you're getting more. You're getting double the health, and you can carry both on one thing, and you're getting double arcs on a generic. So that's a pretty solid buy-in, I would say. If you could find the points to fit everything else on it.
It's an obstacle and a device.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Taking a million years to load, but I have a.
Yeah.
Just Control F and try and see if you can find.
Actually, I think I downloaded it. Hang on.
Oh,
I
that's what I should have done.
referenced-
I should have downloaded it. All right, so you want me to hit Control
I
F, and
referenced
what do
the
you want me to
whole summary.
find? Debris?
Chaff. CHAFF.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, my computer is wanting to be slow.
It's an Apple, we understand.
All right, next week, Charles is running the show, and Chris is going to give the commentary. Oh my gosh, why is it? Are you sure it's not their website?
It might be. Yeah, I'm going the back way through FFG's site. Maybe they might have it there too. So
Yeah, it's like it's frozen for me.
yeah, no worries. We can always come back to it.
All right. While we come back to it, let's go into the next one. What's the next one, Psych Jay?
So the next one on it is a clarification on ion ships being assigned a dial in secret that's placed on the card. In the event that the ion token is removed from the ship, meaning it's no longer ioned during the planning phase. I believe the interaction here is with Cutthroat, where that could remove a red token, in this case, an ion token. So that way the ship is not stuck doing that one forward maneuver from an ion token. That's something that's very interesting, very edge case. I'm trying to think how you would trigger somebody to die during the planning phase. But yeah, it is a possibility.
All right. Here's your electric shave cloud, Charles.
Right.
It says it's a device and an obstacle.
Okay, so your struts can latch onto it, but it is not a debris cloud.
Yeah, it just says it's a cloud.
Oh, Twitchy shared something from the AMG forums.
Well, good. So I don't have to submit the thing then?
Though, man, that would be great though if you could.
All right, so no, it doesn't even. But it does not address. They are an obstacle and not a bomb, mine, or device. As such, they have a similar manner to other obstacles, including the effect of seismics. You cannot place additional fuse markers. The wording around obstructing defines what happens when an attack is obstructed. Similar to asteroids or debris clouds, the defender rolls one additional dice and nothing else. Gas cloud. So this is something I can use. Why can't I shred a chaff missile then? I don't. If it's an obstacle.
Because the struts, unless I'm reading the wrong struts, landing struts state that when you execute a maneuver, if you overlap an asteroid or debris cloud.
Gotcha. There you
So
go.
because it specifies asteroid or debris cloud and the chaff is simply an obstacle, it is not a debris cloud, you cannot. You can unrig cargo chute.
Yeah.
But you cannot for landing, or you cannot for the chaff cloud.
Gotcha. Hey, wait, look at that. We learned something. So sad. I'm sad. I'm sad. I'm sad now. You guys made me sad. I was hoping this would be like really good. Anyway, let's move on. All right. So what's is that the last of the major changes? I mean, okay.
Yeah.
The change that you have to have a real ship on the base, I don't care. We'll move on. I don't
At all times. At all times. 4-peg meta.
Like whatever. And you want to know the funny thing is, I always do those anyway because it helps me in my mind sometimes remember what's Vader versus Soontir. Just I know the ships look different, but
here's a question. How does collision detector interact with a chaff cloud?
All right. Are you going to
What's the
take that, or are
wording
you
on-
just asking me the question?
I've got to look up collision detector.
Yeah, same here.
I don't use it enough to know exactly what it is.
My guess is
All
that
right.
it does work because if it's an obstacle, it should.
While you boost or barrel roll, you can move through and overlap obstacles. After you move through or overlap an obstacle, you may spend 1 to ignore its effects. So because it's an obstacle,
Yep.
collision detector still allows you to go through it and ignore its effects until the end of round. So I guess any effects that the chaff cloud brings can be ignored.
Yep. Absolutely.
And yes, chaff clouds do trigger trick shot.
Man, all these things sound like horrible things for droids.
It also
Horrible
makes
things.
dash stronger.
Doesn't make them stronger. What are you talking about?
Dash can have
Dash? Oh,
yeah.
no, fuck Dash. Yeah, stop. No, we're not having. No, moving on. I don't want to have that conversation because I'm going to get angry again, and it'll be a whole. Do you want to go to bed tonight, Charles, or do you want to listen to me rant about why Dash is still the worst fucking?
I'll just log off.
Dash is literally the new Torkel Mux. There you go. There's the hashtag. Dash is the new Torkel Mux for me. Yeah, we're gonna move on. All right, so is that all the major things?
Yeah, so far.
Because didn't they have a
I think it was those
Palpatine
two, and then our
or a Padme update? I don't know if that's important.
Palpatine was ruled that if another ship that has Palpatine is affecting the dice on a triggered Padme.
because
on a
Padme
defending
says you
ship.
can't modify more than 1 die.
Yeah.
But since it's another ship modifying the die, it's still okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
well that's good to know though. That's actually that's good. I think that's a positive change. Hey Nabi, guess what we did not get? You didn't get to have justice for Zari.
Yeah, right.
And we're not gonna get into that tonight, Nabi, just as an FYI. We will have that conversation at some point, but not tonight. All right, so if that's all the other major changes, on Friday they decided to release not a stream like they told us they were going to. They decided they were going to release their version of the rules versus what it really was. And you know what? We didn't take a screenshot of that, did we? I don't think we did we? We are not very good at this, are we? I'll blame Charles. That's who I'll blame.
That's fine. That's what everybody does. So
All
like
right.
my wife.
Like your wife? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope your wife does not listen to this.
She
All right.
blames me. It's fine. She knows.
Fair enough. So the thing that they stated was on Facebook, correct? They didn't post this to Twitter or Twitch or anything. It was all Facebook, correct?
Yeah, Twitter first and then Facebook, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. So here's what it is. So they did explain that they had a windstorm, which is fine. I get it. You know, like things happen. Understandable. I don't know if I would have released it personally because they created a lot of controversy, I think. They only have 49 comments on this thread though, so I'm a little surprised by that. Given the amount of backlash that the Fly Better podcast group has seen, like holy crap. I probably should make it so you can read it instead of me. Let me fix that. There you go. I'm a professional podcaster. Don't worry. All right.
There you go.
So
now,
here's the thing. It says number 2. I wonder what number 1 is. They don't have a number 1, do they? Oh, yep. There's number 1. We're going to do number 1 first.
Yeah.
X-Wing is played over a series of rounds. Like we didn't know, right?
so glad we specified that. Thank you.
Planning phase. Players choose maneuvers for their ships using maneuver dials. Once the dials are set, players roll to determine player order for the round is described in the determined player order setup. Randomly determine the first player as follows. Roll 3 attack dice on a crit. Whoever has the most, you're first. Eyeballs are the first tying consequence, and hits are the second one. If there is still a tie, you re-roll until it's broken. All right, seems logical so far. After all ships have assigned dials to them, players roll to determine player order. Note that the first round of the game, player's order is determined during setup. After player order has been determined, play proceeds to the system phase. So, what that tells me is that we're determining player order every round. Am I correct in this?
Yeah.
That's what you're both reading? This is not
That's
just...
what I read, yes.
Okay. And we're going to roll 3 bloody attack dice every round, except for the first round, because that was determined when we decided to place obstacles. Correct?
Yes.
That is my understanding, yes. The initial is done before setup, and then after that, it's just in between the end phase and the system phase.
All right. I played 2 games this weekend, in person, actually, with a buddy of ours, who's been playing for as long as Charles has, at least, if not longer.
Correct.
Nice guy. I feel bad because I kind of sprung this on...
Jack off.
I kind of sprung this on him. When I showed up on Friday night, I was like, hey, by the way, want to play with the new rules? Come on, let's play with the new rules. I need some testing, you know? And weird side note, Sec J, before we end the show, we're going to have a conversation about your shirt, for a second there. But we're going to move past that because it has nothing to do with X-Wing, but I'm very interested in your shirt and understanding what that is, because that might be a new competitive game I need to get into.
You've never played Catan?
No, I have, but not competitively.
Dice Tower Con 2019, I helped. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Never mind then. Moving on. Moving on. Chris is just getting distracted because it's almost 11. So we played 2 games. The first game, we both had all I3s. Now, I'm going to be honest. I did not pick the list I wanted versus his list. We were kind of doing a Clone Wars versus Separatist type thing. And I kind of wanted to practice a little bit for my Krayt Cup because I felt really stupid that I was the one that lost this week. So I wanted a little bit more practice, especially with Watt. And we ran into I3s. So obviously for initial setup, whatever, that I've been playing random player rules for first player, second player, for determining once per game, for the last month now, since they announced that. But that's nothing new for me. My local, everything, we've kind of been pushing it. Every time I play with Phil, it's the same thing. It's like, no, we're going to play this way because they're going to move that way. What we did play was we rolled, once we started engaging, we had to roll who's going to go first. My initial reaction when they said this is I thought this was the dumbest thing, because the big thing is that comes out of that is before dials are set, correct?
After dials are set.
Or I'm sorry, yes. After dials are set, you determine it. After dials are set. So here I have to assign my dials and then decide if I'm going to be first or second player. So if I'm a swarm player and I want to go in for blocks at an I3 and they have I3s and they get to move first, I'm going to lose every one of my blocks. Lose all my mods, everything. Same with Jedis. If Jedis knew they were going first at an I3, which is what he ran his 3 Jedis and Warthog, he knows in his world what's going to happen. Now, I will tell you, I was very dismayed at first. The amount of times we complained about it was every round, more than one time sometimes, because it's very hard to set a dial when you know I would normally set my dial doing this, because I know I'm going to go first. And if I'm going to go second, even as a droid player going second, I know I'm going to be a little bit more weird and cagey in how I'm doing things. So, you know, if I know he's going to come in and block me with his stupid Jedis and have double modded shots on droids, I'm going to be cagey and do, you know, 2 talons, right? Or I'm going to disengage with 1 Jedi and go after a second Jedi. I'm going to rotate on a rock a certain way because I know that that Jedi is going to be there. But when he gets to move first and then boost around the rock, I don't know whether he's going to actually do it or not. And on his world, he's the same thing. He's saying, I don't know whether I should boost around or not. Should I go after what? Should I not go after what? Should I choose this droid over this droid? I have no idea what to do. So initially we were very dismayed. When I had time to sit down and think about it, the amount of choices and actions I had were through the roof. Just like the way I played was completely different. And in the long run, it felt like more strategy to me. Now, that's just me. I had time to play. Did either of you have time to play games this weekend?
No.
Yeah, so I got to play two games, two very different games. The first one was I was running a bombing swarm. I had about 5 ships with bombs, all I2s and 3s, I believe, versus like a more ace setup. It was a 4-ship list with 4, 2 5s, and a 6. One of the 5s had a bomb to like a seismic charge. So there wasn't really any overlap for the RPO at that point. The only time that it did matter when it was, the system phase where we need to drop a bomb. And even then, it wasn't really like significant. At that point, RPO just felt like an afterthought. But the game that did matter was Ace versus Ace setup. I had two I5s and I6 against a 4, 5, and a 6, and there were 2 turns in a row where I ended up getting the initiative. Just trying to play as best as I could. Honestly, I find myself playing a lot more conservative, doing slower maneuvers where I can get the arcs pointed where I need to. And I tend to stagger at that point and, to prevent him from getting behind me in the event that I am going first. So I find myself playing a lot less aggressive because I have to prepare for both possibilities, right? And then on one turn, the third turn where RPO mattered, I ended up having to have him go first. So he ended up K turning before I moved. So I ended up blocking him because he was expecting my ship to get out of the way. And because he ended up having that initiative, he couldn't complete the K turn, managed to get behind him and finish off his I5. So it makes the game a little more chaotic. It definitely leaves a lot more randomness, for it. And honestly, it's going to change list building a lot. Honestly, I think that that the value of these like pre-maneuver or like after you set your dial stuff like informant or snow crew, whatever, to let you see what your opponent is going to do with any
Snow
particular
crew?
ship.
Did you
It's
say
going to
snow
be
screw? What's snow crew?
Snow crew on FO Snoke.
Oh,
So you can spend the
okay.
force
Not
and choose
Snow
any ship.
Crew. Snoke Crew.
Like I was like,
Snoke.
did we get snow troopers? I didn't know that.
So yeah, no, Snoke. You can spend the force and flip a dial from any ship beyond range 3. Really good upgrade for this type of thing. They're definitely going to be worth their weight in gold now for this because it's almost, especially if you're running like an ace type setup, you have to have this now because otherwise you're running blind and it's going to mess you up. So yeah.
I said this in a lot of our offline chats. As much as I don't agree with the whole random player order decision, looking at a battlefield scenario, right? There's no rules. There's no order of engagement, right? Sometimes a clone's going to get a lucky maneuver where they're going to block Obi-Wan, right? Sometimes a droid is going to get a lucky maneuver and block an Ace I6 pilot. Sometimes that I6 pilot's going to screw up and move before everybody else because he gets overzealous, right? There's any number of situations where chaos ensues and the order of things is thrown out the window. And I feel like this is the best possible option to bring that chaoticness into the actual game.
Yeah, and I think, Charles, I think that's kind of a good point, right? Like that makes a really good point, and yeah, you pointed that out. And I'll be honest, at first I was kind of like, man, whatever. But after I played it, like I said, our friend has a completely different opinion. But after I played it, I kind of felt like that, and I kind of felt in the long run, it equals out a little bit of play style, right? You're not completely being able to dominate as somebody that has played for 10 years, right? And how long has this game existed?
It's 8 years, I want to say.
Okay,
I
8 years.
think it came out in like 14 or 15.
Okay.
Mhm.
So that's a lot of years, right? You know, I mean, that's a long time for a game. Usually games, you have to be careful because unless you're somehow Magic the Gathering, games don't usually last that long. Or Pokemon that has a whole side series that can support their failing card games, right? Um so I don't know. Again, I've been very opposed to a lot of changes, honestly. And I won't say that I've not been very down on AMG. You know, my bigger thing is the communication, right, over the changes. Personally, if we're going to be honest, my bigger thing was the communication that they had. We're now getting communication. I feel a lot better. I don't feel they want to end the game. And I'm having a harder time not wanting to accept some of the changes, at minimum to try them out, because of the fact that if this means we could get more people to play the game, more people to buy the product, the competitive scene's not going to die. In Destiny, what happened for me, right? They say we're done producing. The competitive scene dried up within 3 months, pretty much. You know, it was gone. If they're saying we don't believe we need this to continue to exist, but we want to grow this brand, and it's going to become more and more bloody expensive because we're having these stupid ships like the Mandalorian that only come into freaking scum, you know, and we're going to get Bad Batch at some point, hopefully. And, you know, you got to think, what does that mean for the game, right? What does that mean? And like, if this allows for a little bit more of the ability for people to play competitively that normally might not. Like, I wish Matt were here tonight because I want Matt's opinion. Because Matt hates competitive play because Matt gets tilted and then loses pretty much all the time when he gets tilted. When he wins, it's great. When he's on that streak, he loves it. He tabled all of us when we got to meet in person, blah blah blah. He was doing really good, right? But when he gets tilted, everything goes downhill for him. And when him and I play in person, that's a fact. Like, if I play Droid Swarms two games in a row, by that third game, he's tilted. And it don't matter what I play, I usually win. So I vary up my list, but this gives that guy that gets tilted like that a little bit more of an advantage because of the fact that there's chaos that ensues. And Charles, to your point, like you're saying, like, that's how a real dogfight would be. And if we actually want to look at, like, if we want to talk war, right? Which this is what we're doing. We're simulating freaking war. If you look in war, how many times do you see a gold medalist that hits every single time, right? That person is in combat every time and lives to tell about it. How many times? I don't think that exists. I don't think a guy goes out and flies fighter pilots, F-22s, and I don't know, do stealth bombers even exist anymore? You know, like, I have no idea. I don't think they do, but whatever. Like, how often
They still exist, but they're not really used.
Yeah. How often do you see a pilot like do a really good job and then come back, get awarded, and go back out there and do it 7, 8, 9, 10 times, like we see in Star Wars? And I get it's a movie, but for fuck's sake, folks, like, the reality of that is non-existent, right?
Well, like, I'll give a different example, right? And this is something that is completely not Star Wars or X-Wing related. I, and a mutual friend, Bob, we play Ghost of Tsushima online. We play the multiplayer. We have done the survival missions more times than any of us can count, right?
Yes.
Every time we play it, it's completely different. Every time there's a random generation of enemies. Bob misses a headshot that allows Chris to get blasted by an Oni. Or Bob misses a parry, but he knows he should have done that parry, but he gets overzealous with trying to shoot an arrow or trying to be fancy and whatever, and it bites us in the ass. That's the chaos of the battlefield. It doesn't matter how many times you've done it over and over again. There are so many different variables, and this is just one of those.
Yeah. Now, I haven't let Psych J talk, and you can have the floor in a few seconds here. I want to address a little bit of Catherine's viewpoint, right? Of this adding chaos incentivizes people to blame bad games. I don't disagree at all. And I could tell you, that did not come up with Phil and I, but we did sit there and say, well, if I had done this and you had done this, if we knew who was going first, we would know how this would end. And while I agree that sometimes, and this is maybe where you and I might disagree a little bit, but when you add chaos into there, randomness can be bad. I'm the guy that's going to tell you, like, in politics, I'd rather run randomness in there. I'm the guy that likes somewhat of the anarchy aspect of life. In terms of how to shake things up, because I think there's nuances and things that people don't like to change. And when they don't like to change, they get stuck in their ways. And sometimes we need that to shake things up a little bit. I agree with you. I think there's going to be a lot of people that will blame this on the chaos. I 100% think that's going to happen. I think we've already seen it this weekend. I spent Friday night for about an hour and a half in Krayt Cup chats discussing with people. I was in the Flybetter a little bit, on Facebook a little bit. It's happened. We've talked about it in our local group too. And my challenge, I guess then, right, would be is if the randomness creates a somewhat negative play experience for people, certain types of people, what is a better way to level out the game per se than to allow for competitiveness to be had at all levels? What is the solution to that without having random first player order? And I'll just say this and let that stew for a little bit, because I kind of want a little bit more of Psych J's thoughts on this, right?
So to kind of provide you an answer on that, there is this, from a design space. I think this opens the door for AMG to introduce more upgrades that deal with post style, like manipulation, or post RPO manipulation of your dial, right? Because if you think about this from the perspective of, like, the other part of the game that has random chance in it is the attack dice, or like anything involving rolling your dice for like damage, right? There's always a set chance that you're always going to either miss or you're going to hit, and there are upgrades that help you mitigate those chances, right? Predator, marksman, fearless, stuff that modifies your dice to tilt that chance of you pushing that extra damage through on an attack. Currently, right now, we don't have much. I mean, we have the crews that I mentioned earlier that help you see what your opponent's style is going to be. The only ones that actually alter your dial is R2A6 on the Republic, SAC-10 also on the in the Republic as well. Those are the only ones that actually help you adjust your dial post fact. I'm sorry, Season Navigator is a generic one as well. That's a crew. um, those I think this is just going to open up the space for that. It wouldn't surprise me if we find a force talent that helps you modify your dial after the fact, or we end up getting more talents that help you do that. I think this just opens up the design space for that. Ultimately, I think that the philosophy of AMG is pushing the casual play more and more into it, more towards that direction, because to kind of borrow a quote from Dark Knight, chaos is fair. It affects both people equally. It may seem from your point of view that, especially when you get a string of bad events that happen to you, you're gonna blame that particular bad event because you're like, oh, if I would have had, if the other person would have had initiative, I would have been able to react better. Um, but at the same time, I think they're just trying to make the game a little more appealing, and it's going to bother us more seasoned players who play competitively, that this element of chance can't be mitigated, especially with traditional ace lists that don't have the ability to manipulate their dials after the fact, or know what their opponent's dial is going to be after the fact. So it's going to be a tough adjustment for a lot of our 20 players, and it's going to shift the meta a lot, honestly.
Right. So I've another thing, and I'm not all right, I've made Top Cut before, but I've never won a GSP. I've never won a tournament in X-Wing. So I'm not this great. I mean, look at my Krayt Cup team. I mean, like, I'm technically the 1 and 2 guy, and they're the 2 and 1 guys, right? That's fair. So maybe I'm not the guy to have this conversation per se, but as an average player, we'll just call me an average player, right? Who likes to think he's good. I like to think I'm good. I like strategy games. I love strategy aspects. What I don't like is when I can figure it out and win every time. At some point, it becomes boring. And I'll use Marvel for a second. I'm going to jump to Marvel Champions only for the pure fact that Marvel Champions, to some extent, became boring when I could build these OP decks. And I know I'm playing just with a friend or a brother or whatever, or my son. It still became a little boring when I could crush the villain every time. And so, like, I introduced the heroic aspect, and my son hated it. You know how many times we lost? Like, out of 4 games, we lost 3 because it became that much harder. The craziness, the chaos aspect of it became that much harder. Now, I enjoy it more. You know why? Because I'm not guaranteed to win. I don't just want to win to win. I want to be the best, which I'm not in X-Wing. So there's that. But what? And again, I'm not the best player in the world. But what I did when I played against another I3 Swarm versus my I3 Droid Swarm is I did moves I would never, ever strategically ever do. Ever. And for example, Watt did a 3 sloop. You know how many times my Beelzebub has ever done a 3 sloop? Almost ever, unless it's an uncontested shot. It never has. But I did it out of the pure fact that I said, I have an 80% chance to know I will outmaneuver his ships this way, because so far he's hit first player 7 out of the 8 times. Literally, 7 out of the 8 times he got first player. It was not me. Even though we rolled dice every round, it was not me. And so the sloop said, I knew he wouldn't think about me doing this weird sloop to get out of his 1 or his 2 Jedi's arcs and give me a shot on his 1 Jedi. And then my other droids both got calculates. I get my free rerolls, so I don't need my focus as much. I agree. Randomness and chaos create a hard level of play. It does. I think this is a discussion we need to have for quite a while. I don't think this is a discussion that's over and sealed. But what I will say is that strategically, I had to think about what that player was going to do if he went first and if he went second. To me, that forced me to be a better player, honestly, than I normally would have been. Because if I knew he was going first, I know exactly what that Jedi was going to do. And I would counter that to some extent, right? And you know what it made me feel like? And maybe this is wrong to say, and I apologize to any newbies listening. But when you play a new player, and I was told this too. So Phil told me this when I first started. He said, I don't understand how you think. I don't get how you're making these moves, right? And it's because I didn't know how his ships would react. The first time I ever played X-Wing, I just made moves that I thought would be really cool and would work. And 50% of the time, it worked. And so when you play a new player, it's the same way now. Now I'm 2 years in, right? And we have a new player in our league. And I played against this person. And they made moves that screwed me over because I was like, who in God's green earth would ever do that? like you would never do that, because I know how that ship operates and I know how that ship should go. Like, Assume Tier Fel does not stress itself. Ever. I'm sorry. It just does not happen. You don't do that. Like, you don't do that. You don't do a red maneuver unless, again, you're getting a very uncontested bullseye shot. That's not Assume Tier Fel. He's going to outmaneuver to a different way, right? And what it did is I had to play against a guy that had been playing for longer than me, that was making moves that felt like I was playing against a new person and actually made me excited. And I'll be honest, this is probably not a popular opinion. I was kind of excited to play the game again. I don't know how this will feel in a tournament. I don't know how this is going to feel in competitive play. I don't know how, and I'm sitting across from like Paul Olson or a Nabi or a Catherine, right? I don't know how I'm going to feel when we have to all make these random BS decisions to some extent. I don't know yet because I've not played in a competitive tournament with this. And I would actually encourage us I would encourage GSP to take this on only because they're the data. I'm not the data. They're the data. You know what would be fun? If we had to play Alderaan with this. And I only say that because, not because I'm this average player that just wants to make top cut and get a bunch of cool prizes, which I do want that. But I want to win them based on merit, not based on randomness. And what I would say is if they did this, this would be a great test for competitive play to see that. And if not, I'm going to encourage our local to create that. I want a aggressive competitive test where people who have had to make cuts, who have had to do these things, we play against each other so that we can see what this is. Because to me, and I know I'm being long-winded now, and I apologize to my teammates here, but it makes me feel like there could be a difference. And I think until we try it, at least on a competitive level, we're going to all feel very icky and yucky about it because it doesn't fit how we've spent the last 2, 4, 6, 8 years of our life playing this game. And maybe because I never went through a 1.0 to 2.0, and maybe the two of you could talk to that. But do you feel this is a 1.0 to 2.0 style change? You know?
For me, it is a pretty big change. I don't know if I would put it from a 1.0 to 2.0 like type of change, but it does fundamentally change how the game is played, definitely, because all your preconceived notions of how you fly, knowing whether you're going to go first or second, gets thrown out the window. I mean, yeah, you're going to be mindful of it to try to make your best guess on how your opponent's going to fly, but I mean, just the added random factor it's a bit jarring, I would say. Um, I don't have. I mean, I've only played those 2 games, and I think that with more games, I'll have a better grasp on how I feel for that change. That being said, being that this is AMG's first like major change, or not really major, but like well, yeah, it probably like the most fundamental change for the game so far. Just based on how they did the presentation on Wednesday, makes me think that they're still in the process of like testing this out. And some of the responses that they've given for like the reasoning for how they reason like points changes for like some of the ships on the when they're responding on stream. A lot of the responses was, well, we did a lot of play testing, and this is why we came to this decision. And honestly, I think that AMG, I would hope that AMG, with enough data, can make a decision whether or not this will be a permanent change, because they've gone on to say that if they feel that they need to make a change to the game, that they'll make it whenever that time comes. So I hope that they keep their ear close to the ground to see the community's reaction to this over time. And I would encourage anyone, especially longtime players who are playing the game, to give it a try. You may have heard a lot of negative commentary on the various forums for this, but give it a try. You may be surprised by what you find. I know I certainly had 2 very different experiences with my 2 games that I've had with the new rule set. But I mean, yeah, give it a try.
Charles, any last thoughts?
Nope. Like I said, I'm reserving hatred or anything like that until I get the opportunity to play it.
Yep. And all right, and that's fair. I think that's fair. I think but we're gonna close the show because I think we could probably spend another hour having a conversation. Honestly, especially because people have so many opinions, and I think everybody's entitled to an opinion, and I think everybody should be able to voice their opinion and should be doing so, especially if you've been playing X-Wing for longer than I have. I'm here for 2 years, right? We've got some people that watch our show that have been here for less than a year, less than a couple of months, right? I think everybody should voice their opinion. And you could be right. This could be the change to the more casual thing, which is what AMG wants to do. I would question the one question I would have is how does Marvel Crisis Protocol work casual versus competitive, right? Like, do they have a large competitive scene? How does that whole thing work? So I think that's something that maybe we can examine going forward. I think that the conversation then can become, how do we want to change this? But I think what needs to happen is I think you need to reach out respectively, personally, to AMG and express this. I think this needs to be discussion. And like, I'll be honest, like, we can all have a good conversation here, but like none of us are going to make those decisions. But I think what we need to do is take our collective thoughts, right? And take them back to AMG and say, hey, here's what's happened. And you know how AMG made that, like when they first came around, they're like, here, let's try these weird little rules for our first mini extravaganza. And we were all like, yay, okay, yay, thanks for this, thanks for the weird nod. This is a huge opportunity. And AMG didn't come to us and say, hey, let's play test this. But they're listening to some extent. I mean, like, there must be people playtesting this that I don't know who the F they are, but these people playtesting this shit must be giving them that conversation. And you're right. You're right, Kevin. There's no space in a tournament to alter it. I'm just saying could they do that? Could they create a different format for a tournament play versus casual play? They've done stupid, silly things. I mean, look, they have an Aces High kit that makes 0 sense. We spent a half hour reviewing why this makes no sense. I don't know. I think I really needs to be the conversation with AMG is what's going to happen. Can we give them back to this, give them back the information and see where it goes? I still encourage people to test it, right? Like, even if you're going to say, hey, I know this will fuck, my opinion and this is going to be bad, blah, blah, blah. Test it and let's submit results. And maybe this is a Dion thing. Maybe we need to get Dion on board with submitting results or giving them some of that information. This is how it would affect the competitive play. Do you want to ruin that? Because if they do kill competitive play, there will be a downtick in the game. That's a fact. The amount of money I've spent on this effing game is not because I like the casual part of it. Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me. I don't own Scum because I'm a casual player.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I during the Wednesday stream for AMG, I actually kept on trying to put in questions to see if they would, expand on what they're going to do for hyperspace or what they were going to do for the banned restricted list. And they had time to tell us whether they like cats or dogs. So, yeah. I really wish that they would clarify a little bit more, especially like I understand that they're trying to attract like a general, a more broader base, right, to bring them into the game, and that's their focus clearly. Like you can based on all these rule changes that they've done. I kind of wish that they would acknowledge a lot more of the more competitive players for this, because honestly, the rules that we're going to enforce in tournament play and everything are the rules that they're setting in now. Even though they might be more intended for casual play, it does trickle over into the competitive play, and I wish that AMG would address that a little bit more, or at least let us know that, hey, we're going to have a whole separate tournament document, which already exists. We're going to go ahead and edit that just so we can clarify more rules specifically for competitive play. And that would be okay, because then both can exist in the same space, right? You can still have your casual formats, which most leagues can run, and that'll be okay. But when you're doing more competitive events, you have these set more of rules that I feel will be better for the game. Because you can still expand the broader base, bring in newer players, using this casual format, and still keep the more competitive players happy, coming back for more tournaments, and keeping the game alive.
Yep. So, I think we're going to wrap it up here. I think this is going to be an ongoing conversation that we need to have. I don't think this is solved. I don't think again, I don't think by any means this is the death of the game. And so look, I lost Destiny. Destiny, we knew it was going to die for 8 months, right? And I still paid money I should not have paid into freaking FFG. I don't think this is going to kill X-Wing. I think this changes it. And I think the difference is if we as a community disagree with this for the competitive format at minimum, we need to, you need to actually have that conversation, right? We need to start having these conversations. I think a lot of this becomes easier when we can get back to in-person, like, play, right? Like, if they sent freaking like, okay, Matt Howland, when we played Destiny, Matt Howland came to events, man. Like, we had an in-person FFG representative to talk to. Now, I didn't play X-Wing at the time. Did they have an in-person person that would come to events? Large events?
I got to play with Matt or work with Matt Holland in the 2017 Star Wars celebrations here in Orlando, Florida. He was the rep for Destiny at the time, and I played with Max Brooks was there as well, kind of like helping out, answering questions for the game, demoing the game and stuff. So you had people there, that knew the game, that helped develop the game, and they were there in person at the time just to help it. And I think that's something that AMG is missing right now, and especially since there's no AMG events, like in-person events currently.
Yep. So I think once those things happen, we can get somebody on the ground. We can start funneling some of the conversation. I will challenge AMG and say, if you're not listening though, and you do kill competitive play, then there's going to be an issue. Like, that's going to be a big issue. Your sales will go down. That's a fact. And I will say, and I've had this conversation with my board game store more than one time. They essentially have told me, I know you spend a lot of money here, but you know how much money we make on selling effing toys, right? They have other toys in the store, and 80% of the store is toys, right? They carry X-Wing, for the 10 or 12 of us that play, right? I understand the business model. I think the transparency needs to be there, and I've said this about FFG, and I've said this about AMG. We need some transparency. We need people to come in. But what I really want to hear, and what I really want is for us to speak up politely to AMG and say, this is really where we would like to go. And why don't you create a board, a bigger area of playtesters? Let's separate playtesters from like an X-Wing board, right? Where we could take some certain players, you could put an application in. And maybe this is because I work in business and this is what we do in business, right? But you do these certain things for the board, and you put things together to say, hey, this is how we can help create a longevity for the game. That's all I'm saying. With that being said, we are well over our 2 limit, and Charles is probably going to shoot me tomorrow morning. That's what he's going to shoot me in the head. But either which way, let's enjoy the game. I think that we need to provide feedback, and maybe we need to get back with the other team members to say, hey, this is how we want to bring some of this information back to AMG organized. So if y'all know Dion, he wants to reach out to me, I'll have a conversation with Dion. But if anybody wants to just explain to Dion, hey, maybe you should just like kind of launch this as a platform. You're the head X-Wing guy. Like, maybe that's what we should do. So with that being said, thank you all for a great night. We do promise we have more content coming. With Psych J joining us, we're going to be having conversations about faction breakdowns in the next 3 to 4 months. So essentially, over the next 3 to 4 months, we will be having conversations about different types of faction breakdowns. We will go over Meta Fortress, but this is just too important not to have a conversation about. And eventually, we're going to have Mando. At some point, we're going to have Mando and Boba Fett and everything, and it'll just be a big fun time. With that being said, thank you all. Have a good night. We'll see you on Thursday for our community games, and then next Sunday for our episode 25. Is it episode 25?
Yes.
I don't know. All right. Have a good night, everyone.